Well, hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Julia Royston. I own BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the Book Business Boss Consulting, as well as For the Kingdom Ministries. But Book Business Boss Consulting, BK Royston Publishing, and Royal Media and Publishing is where we help you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and be a book business boss. So, as you know, I travel a lot in 2024. I probably was at 40 events. 2025, or whenever you're hearing this replay, I'll pretty much be close to 40. Um, and so when we set out to go on the highways, we always stop and pray. And I'll always remember Mother Jackson would always pray. Now, Mother Jackson was an intercessor, evangelist, and she could call your phone and be speaking in tongues on the other end, and you say hello, and then she can go slap into tongues and prayer and intercession for you. So I don't have that often happen many times, but it used to happen back then. And if she knew you were traveling, she would always Father God and go in, but she would always say, protect them from accidents, incidences, and near misses. Accidents, incidences, and near misses. So she was in the spirit realm, she was really seeking to put up the hedge, to put a hedge of protection around you and ask God to put his angels to guard you. He said he'd give his angels charge over you and keep you in all of your ways. But when the enemy came for Job, he said, uh, he came to God and God said, what you been doing? He said, I'm going up and down, to and fro. I'm walking, see see what's going on. I'm in action. I'm in motion. And then God said, have you considered my servant Job? He said, absolutely. But you got that hedge. You got that protection around him, and I can't get to him. And so that's what I want you to walk in today. There is a hedge of protection. It doesn't look like it. The enemy wants you to think you're wide open and fully access granted, but there is a hedge of protection still around you. You're not walking around, sometimes I want to put bubble wrap around people, my mother, to protect them from all kinds of germs, etc. But there is still the hedge of protection around you. When you seek God, when you seek to stay in his will, walk in his way, and believe him, he will put a hedge of protection around you. If something happens and he allows something to happen, it is for your glory. For his glory, I'm sorry. It is for his glory and his honor. And it is a testimony of your faith and trust in him. It is the testimony of his power. And I've seen people in horrible accidents who walked away, and I've seen people in horrible accidents we know were gone. So life and death is left up to God. He does that. But we walk in that there is a hedge of protection, because the enemy said, well, I would love to touch Job. He's the richest man in the East. He got these kids, he got houses, he got lands, he got all this property, all this ox, and all this, everything he's got. Richest man in the East. But you got this hedge. You got this hedge of protection around him. And God said, go ahead, try him. Do everything to him, except kill him. And so therefore, when we're seeking God for his protection and the hedge of protection around us, I often have prayed hurt, harm, or danger, seen and unseen. Because there's oftentimes we can see danger, and sometimes there's danger going on that we don't even see, that we can't see with the naked eye. It's in the spirit realm, but sometimes the Lord does not allow us to be seen. He doesn't allow us to have full access to it. There was a horrible thing going on, and we missed it. We weren't there. We left 5 minutes before. Well, you think that's by happenstance? No. You think that just happened to be? When you let order my steps and let God guide you and lead you, you will have those near misses. You will have those. If we had just been there an hour before, if we had just been there the day before, we left an hour before, we left a day before, we left and decided we all of a sudden you think you just decide. No, that's the hedge of protection. One of the worst, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, one of the worst bus crashes pretty much in history, definitely is in Kentucky history, that happened in the Carrollton famous bus crash. Look it up, Google it. And a lot of children and from the state and around the region have been at Kings Island. Well, my two sisters and their then boyfriends, they now husbands of 30 some years, but they were there too. And then all of a sudden they got tired and they came on back home. Well, they got home safe and sound and thankful be unto God. But these other children did not. And you think all of a sudden you just get thirsty or you get hungry or you move ready to move from a place. Yeah, you have free will. You're still a free will agent. You still have free will to decide. But sometimes those urges come as a hedge of protection. Sometimes those things of, I think I'm going to go a different direction today, come because that's your hedge of protection surrounding you and around. And we could be here all day, me telling you the accidents, the incidences, and near misses that I missed. If we hadn't got off the highway and gone to the bathroom, got a cup of coffee or hot chocolate or tea, then we missed that accident. We saw it. We saw the results of it, and we saw what could have happened if we had been in that place. But the hedge of protection. Now, sometimes the hedge is we're just rolling along, just being ourselves. Sometimes the hedge is there for seen and unseen danger, accident, incidents, and near misses. But another thing that I really want us to be mindful of is that we don't get in harm's way. Sometimes harm's way happens. They didn't even mean for you. You were just what they call an innocent bystander, and harm comes to you. You were in harm's way. So the seen and unseen danger, but sometimes you don't want to, you want God to protect you from harm's way. And I think I misspelled that. Harm's way. And, sometimes when we want to, do a certain thing or not do a certain thing, you want to make sure that you're not putting yourself in harm's way. Because you can see harm getting ready to come, like I would never make a good Secret Service agent because I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. That's just not what I'm called to do. Maybe I put myself in harm's way in other areas, other things, but that's just not what I'm called to do. But some people are called to do that. They're law enforcement officers who are actually willing to risk their lives and put themselves on the line and put themselves in harm's way. And then lastly, that we all have to be conscious of, God has the hedge of protection, and then there is his permissive will. There's his divine will, perfect will that we want, but then there's his permissive will. When we continue to say no, when we say yes to him, when we continue to go our own way, we'll find ourselves like the prodigal son somewhere we didn't plan on, didn't need to be, wasn't never meant to be, because you needed to learn a lesson. It was a hard lesson, but you had to learn it. Sometimes your parents do that. So if your biological family is willing to do that, what do you think about God? Sometimes you put yourself in danger. It was a poignant thing. Sometimes in the culture, and we talk about it on social media all the time, that there's that invisible language where certain cultures, especially Black people, we can kind of look at each other and have a whole conversation. No words are ever said, but my eyes, my mouth expression, the way I'm pointing my head, the way my eyes are doing, we had a whole conversation and no words were ever spoken. It was just an invisible. I was doing some business, and I was in a neighborhood that you could clearly tell that the people were homeless, and you know, even, very thin. It was hot, the whole 9 yards. And I had seen them when I was going in this establishment, and we did the proverbial nod and acknowledged, "Hi, how you doing?" Whatever, and they kept going. When I came out, I saw them again, and they had black bags, the whole 9 yards. And I looked at the gentleman and acknowledged him again, and he looked at me, and his eyes, and of course I'm a writer, so his eyes told me a whole story. Just with his, he never said any words, but I knew then, you're never was supposed to be here. His eyes said, how I got here in this situation, I do not know, and I do not know how to get out of. And, you know, not knowing what danger I'm in or not in, I just had to go into prayer and intercession, because I'm like, God, help him to figure out and find a way to get out of it. Because it was clearly, I couldn't even tell, you know, once people have been on drugs so long, you don't know what age they are. But he was of age enough to know better. And, you know, once you make one decision, you do one thing one time, you can get yourself in harm's way. You can get yourself in a situation that God has nothing to do with. And sometimes, it's sad to say, the enemy didn't have nothing to do with it. Yeah, he presented the opportunity, but you knew better. There was a way out. You could have said no. Now, some things are beyond your control. By innocent bystanders, he was sitting there playing in the kitchen, and the bullet sprayed and it got him, and he was sitting at his kitchen table. Well, you're not putting yourself in harm's way if you're sitting at your own kitchen table. My point is that sometimes you have to have protection from your own self. You have to be protected from you. So sometimes the prayer has to be, Lord, protect me from myself. Help me to um, hear you, and even when I want to do a certain thing, help me to be protected. Let the other person say no. Let the other person do something. Let me get away from it. Let not be presented, so that I don't do it to myself. Protect me from me. And I know that others may find that very, very strange, but I don't. Sometimes you have to say, God, protect me from me. And, you know, I was asking God about something not too long ago, and he said, he hasn't said nothing yet. I want to answer, and he ain't said nothing. So usually when he doesn't say anything, that means I got to walk it out. He's not, you know, so I'm not in danger of doing something or having something happen, because he usually warns me that could happen. But this time, I'm just going to have to walk it out. He's not going to give me a heads up. He's going to give me strength to climb it. The power to go through it, to the whatever to endure it, and hopefully the strength to enjoy it. So, Lord, that hedge of protection, we thank you for it. Lord, we appreciate you for even protecting us, that you're mindful of man, that you even are concerned about the smallest thing, whether we going to the, as they say, we either going to the grocery store or whether we going to the moon, you with us. Whether we have decided we're getting ready to sit down at the table and eat dinner, or we change our mind and put a load of clothes in, and we avoid the bullet spray. We avoid the mishap. We avoid the break-in. We put the extra cameras on. Whatever you give us, help us to be mindful of it. Help us to always seek you first, and help us to always be grateful and thankful for being that hedge of protection around us. God, be the hedge and protection around children, around the elderly, around those that are getting older. My mother, who's still alive, I'm the same way. I told her, you know, just like there's child protective services, there has to be adult protective services too as well, because you have to protect adults from predators and from scammers and all that stuff. But help us to continue to listen to the voice of the Lord. Help us to follow your lead, and enjoy and be grateful and thankful for the hedge of protection that you put around us so that we can live our best life. Coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right there on envision-radio.com, where praise meets talk. Then coming up at 11 a.m., Spike Davis and Friends show. Tune in for laughs, music, and more. And then on Tuesdays is the Book Business Boss Show. Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right there on envision-radio.com. The replays are at the Book Business Boss Podcast.com. To find Julia Royston's books, visit Next Chapter Bookstore and gift shop inside Ben's Boys at 2711 Grandview Avenue in Greensboro, North Carolina. Brew and Sip Coffee Bar at 2860 Packerland Way in Louisville, Kentucky, and Janami Books and More at 636 South 18th Street, as well as Book Nerd Fam. Find them. They're a mobile bookstore on Facebook and where they're going to be at next. Speaking of where we're going to be at next, we'll be in Mobile, Alabama at booth 46 at the Mobile Convention Center in Mobile, Alabama for the Mega Alabama Educator Conference. If you know of an educator in the state of Alabama who is coming to Mega, please have them stop by booth 46. I'll be there, as well as Dr. Burnett Nettles will be there too, as well as many, many books from BK Royston Publishing. And then I'll leave Mobile, come back north, come back home, and meet us at booth 713 at the Indiana Black Expo, July 18th through the 20th in Indianapolis Convention Center. Several authors that are going to be with me there. Miss Peggy Dixon, Miss Elizabeth Gore, Dr. Brianna Hogue, Erica and Lewis Rutherford Jr., as well as Mr. Michael Young, will all be there at booth 713, as well as their spouses. So please stop by. It's going to be a huge weekend. Whole lot going on in Indianapolis. Whole lot going on in Indianapolis. So stop by and enjoy all the festivities. Be safe. Enjoy and listen for the hedge of protection that is surrounding you too as well. And if you're ready to write your story, you're ready to write your book, the Summer Fall Workshop Series, Write That Book Now workshop is July 29th. To register, go to roystonclasses.com. That's roystonclasses.com and register, as well as you'll see all the other classes that are going to be offered, as well as I do have an upcoming Profit Masterclass. So Book Business Boss Profit Masterclass is coming up September 26th. And so be sure to check that out right there at roystonclasses.com. Also, the latest book series. Now, JuliaRoystonStore.com, but for the latest series, go to RoystonRoyalBookstore.com. Ask, Seek, and Knock. Devotional series take you in for the summer and all into the end of the year. They're great gifts to give people, especially for the holidays. Be sure, and the summertime headed into fall, ask, seek, and knock. I'm Dr. Julia Royston. If you need me, if you need to have a conversation with me, let's schedule it. Talkwithroyston.com. I don't give out my phone number because I never know in the world where I'll be, but with you scheduling the calendar, I'll be sure to, whether on my phone or computer, log in and let's have a conversation about your book. Also, all of my other online stores, sites, etc. are at JuliaAKRoyston.com. That's JULIA, another AKRoyston.com. So my prayer is today, tomorrow, and always that you live your best life and know that God is a hedge of protection around you and to keep you in all of your ways. Be blessed. Until next time. Bye-bye.